Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Warren, the school librarian over at West Elementary. And today I'm going to be doing another set of book talks, but this time I'm going to be focusing on nonfiction books. For those of you who don't remember, nonfiction means real. These are going to be stories about real things and real places and real adventures that you can all read about. All of these are available in SORA, which is our online ebook and audiobook reader. If anybody needs directions on how to use SORA or how to get into any of these books or how to search for them, you can head over to my library page at West Elementary Library, and you'll be able to find out exactly how to go through all the steps. Today I'm going to go through a bunch of different titles, and all of these should be available for you to check out. Don't forget, you are also allowed to pair your public library card with your SORA account, and it has directions on my website about how to do that as well to add even more books for you to search through. So the first one I'm going to be showing you today, I'm going to come up to my search box, is going to be a series of nonfiction books that all have to do with one of my favorite things, food. So we're going to be looking up the Foods of series. And when I search that, I'm going to see cookbooks from all different parts of the world. So we have Foods of Brazil, which is found in South America. We have Foods of China, which is found in Asia. Foods of France, which is found in Europe. India, which is found in Asia as well. Italy, which is found in Europe. Japan, which is found in Asia. Mexico, which is found in North America. And Thailand. So lots of really, really great titles. Lots of really, really good food. And when you click on one, let's say Foods of Brazil, I'm going to choose. It will give you a bunch of different step-by-step explanations on how to make food from the country. I'm going to go into read a sample so you can kind of see some of the beautiful photographs that they go through, because it shows you how the food is made and it gives you pictures of what it looks like when you're done. And I just was thinking how great it would be to, make some of these recipes with your family at home. Your kitchen's right there. You might want to explore some of these recipes with your parents and make some really good eats. So if you're getting a little hungry, so am I. I love going through this series. I actually own tons of these ones at the library, and I bought a bunch of them for our ebooks as well because, I thought, hey, let's do a little bit of our own cooking at home while we're there because it's a good opportunity. All right, the next one I'm going to be showing you is another how-to book, and this one is the You Can Draw It series. Now, just as the name of the series gives you a little bit of a clue, this one is all about drawing and artwork. And we've got quite a few different titles. You Can Draw It Dogs, which goes through a bunch of different types of dog species that you could draw and see. You can draw it aircraft, so if you'd like to draw some of the planes that you might be able to see flying in the sky. You can draw it big cats, which is going to show you things like cheetahs and lions. How to draw horses. How to draw manga, which is Japanese graphic novels, and how to draw it monsters, which is going to be things like yetis and vampires and other things that go bump in the night. All of these give you step-by-step tutorials on how to be able to draw the image, and it gives you an explanation of how to make your artwork just a little bit more detailed, which is really neat. And you can click on any of these ones, you can borrow them. I mean, if you want to draw a bobcat, this is the place to come to and get some ideas and some explanation. So really, really cool, really, really great series, and a wonderful one if you want to explore some of your artistic ability while you're at home. All right, the next series, I know a bunch of our students is going to be very, very excited to see. This is the Who Would Win books. Oops, I didn't put a space between who would win. Mrs. Warren's got to check her spelling. All right, let's do it again. So, who would space win? And when I come in here, I see two different books for that series. I've got the Who Would Win the Ultimate Showdown, which is 5 Who Would Win books all together, and then Who Would Win the Battle Royale series, which is also 5 books in one. What that means, boys and girls, is that if you've ever read any of the Who Would Win books, like the snakes versus crocodiles or rhino versus hippo, all of them have been put together in one big set. So when you check that book out, you actually get 3 books with one checkout, or no, 5 books with one checkout, which is really impressive. Lots of really good titles, lots of really good reading. And what's great is that it talks about real animals that are predators in the wild. So if you want to learn more about them, this is the place to come to. And there's even some dinosaurs mixed into this one, which is really great. So explore this one if you're a huge fan of the Who Would Win. We've got 2 books that you can check out, but what's neat is that there are sets of books in each one, so you'll be able to read 5 books at a time, which is really cool. All right, the next one I'm going to show you is not a series. It's just one book on its own, but I really wanted to show it to you because I think it's super interesting and it's a great explanation of someone's biography. So this is Little Libraries, Big Heroes. And as I type in the title, you're going to see the book. This one is all about the little library movement. And for people who don't know what little libraries are, they're just tiny little libraries that have been made for people to share books. There actually is one over at Allendale Elementary. I think it's so cute. There are a bunch of them that are mixed in all different types of parks. The one that I can think of off the top of my head is over at the Knox Farm Park, which is in East Aurora, if you ever walk over there. It's just a small little, almost like a tiny little bird feeder that can fit books inside of it. And the whole idea is that if you like a book, you can take it from the little library, but if you want to donate one, you can put one in there too. Now, I would say if anybody's going by a little library right now, please be careful to sanitize any books that you take out of them. And if you're putting a book in there, make sure you wipe it down with some sanitizing cloth or some antibacterial wipes is a really smart call because we don't want to spread any germs. But this is a great way for you to connect with your community. And what's neat is that this was all started by a man named Todd Bowl. He was not a great reader. He didn't really know how to read very well, and he was always sort of embarrassed because he had such a hard time to read, and he had asked so many questions when he was reading a book because he got stuck on words all the time. And so he was kind of afraid of reading a little bit. But then one day he thought about, what if he shared more books with other people? What if people were interested in a bunch of different titles just like he was? And he came up with the idea of making little libraries and putting them in different places all around the community. Now there are thousands of little libraries all across the United States. And what's really interesting is that people will make little markers online and tell them about what kind of books have shown up or what kind of donations people have put into their little libraries. It's a really great way to connect people with books. So I thought this would be a great one to show you about because it talks about how I came up with the idea and how it spread to all different people all over the world, which is really neat. All right, the next one I'm going to show you is another very popular series. And what's neat about this series is that I have historical fiction of this, but I also have nonfiction books that go with this series. And this is, as you might have guessed from my typing, the I Survive series. The I Survive series always follows around one person who's living through a historical part of history that was very, very dangerous. And as the titles give you a bit of a clue, the main character survives, but not a lot of other people do. For example, on the sinking of the Titanic, it was a boat that crashed into an iceberg. Hundreds of people, unfortunately, passed away, but the main character survived, and this is all about their experiences. We have some about the Great Molasses Flood, the eruption of Mount St. Helen, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, surviving a grizzly attack, surviving the Hindenburg explosions, blizzards, you name it, we've got a lot of things that they survive from. But what's interesting is that if you come all the way down, there are 2 nonfiction books, the I Survive True Stories, and also the Nature Attacks. So it's on either side, on the far left, right over here that says True Stories, and on the far right here that says True Stories. And what this is, boys and girls, is that Lauren Tarish, who is the writer of these books, she did a ton of research to find out all these details about this real periods of history that were so dangerous. And so these are books where they talk about all of the research that she put together, which I think is really neat because not only did she write these great fiction stories about these historical events, but she also had to do a lot of her own research to create such good details and write such interesting stories. So if you want to read about where she came up with all the information for her books, this is really great. And what's neat is that every chapter pretty much has a different explanation about a different period of history that she used for her books. So again, you get a bunch of stories in one book, which is really neat. So lots of cool stuff if you want to read a little bit of nonfiction to go along with a fiction series that you might have really enjoyed. All right, on that note, another series that I have that's like that are my Fly Guy books. And these are a set of picture books that are very, very popular in my library. I have audiobooks of these fiction books, and I also have the regular picture books. But if you go down, we have the Fly Guy Presents. And what's neat is that Ted Arnold actually came up with a series of nonfiction books where he put the character Fly Guy into the story. So if you want to learn about real bats, weather, garbage and recycling, and police officers, you can read real facts about each of those topics, but also get to see the cute little fuzzy fly who comes along for each of the stories, Fly Guy. And he's going to all those spots and he's learning about these real facts. So a little bit of fiction mixed in with nonfiction. And my Fly Guy books are very, very popular. So if you're somebody who'd like to have a little bit of nonfiction mixed in with your fiction characters, these are a great one to check out. All right, my last series of nonfiction that I'm going to show you right now, which is one of my favorite. I've saved one of my best for last. Not that the other ones aren't great, but this one just has such great photographs all the way through it, are my DK Find Out books. My DK books are very, very popular at my school. I've got tons and tons of them. They're my Eyewitness series, if anybody's ever read those. These are my DK Find Out Dinosaurs, Human Body, Engineering, Forest, Big Cats, and they're just great. So let's say I want to look up more about dinosaurs. If I click on this one, I'm going to read the sample really fast. You can see that there's actually a bit of a waiting list on this book because it's so very popular. But when I look at the book, you can quickly see why. As I go through, you're going to see these awesome table of contents, and it's going to go through with these great photographs. In this case with dinosaurs, you're going to get a little bit of drawings as well, just because we don't have real pictures of these dinosaurs, but we do have pictures of their bones. And you get to see just so many cool facts, so many interesting pieces of information. And they're just tons and tons of facts. I can't get over how much Eyewitness is able to put on each of the pages. So really, really worth your time. Really, really great to explore. And like I said, we've got a bunch of them. So if I come back over, I've got the human body, I've got the engineering. Engineering means anything that has to do with building pretty much. Big Cats again, where we're going to see lions and tigers all over the place. And the forest is going to show you all the things that you would see out in the wild forest, which is really worth your time too. So please check some of these out. You can take out 2